Hey guys, the purpose of this video is to give you a quick rundown on some of the strategies to use in ATPL flight planning that saved me a bunch of time and I hadn't heard it anywhere else. So I thought I'd make a video just to document 3 tips that saved me significant amounts of times, particularly to do with the Wizz wheel. The first one, when it comes to the wind, is to round all the wind to the nearest 5 degrees, and this comes with the variation. So if the variation is 2 degrees, you don't need to worry about it. 3 degrees, round it up to the nearest 5 and take that 5 degrees off. If it's 12 degrees, just round it down to the nearest 10 degrees. It's going to make your life a lot simpler rather than worrying about specific degrees. Just round it to the nearest 5. The second tip is the big one. And this is all based on using the proportions of the Wizz wheel, particularly when it comes to the wind vector. So my strategy is to use the 100 knot wind only. And then because we have a calculator in flight planning and we get really good at using the calculator, we're going to multiply the actual wind by the percentage that the wind makes up for the 100-degree wind. So let's look at a particular example. Let's say we're traveling on a track of 60 degrees, and let's say we have a wind of 10 degrees magnetic and 50 knots. What we're going to do is we're going to line up 60, our track, first to the north. It doesn't matter which way you go, you can do it either way, but let's just line it up forward to the top. Then we're going to go down to our 10-degree wind, and we're going to track it down to the 100 knot line. It's a little bit thicker on this line. The 100 knot line is this one. And we're going to come down from 10 degrees to that 100 knot line and travel across horizontally for our headwind component. At 10 degrees, that hits at about 65 knots. So what we're going to do for our headwind is we're going to multiply 0.65 times 50. And because we've got our calculator, 0.65 times 50, that's going to give us 32.5. That's our headwind component for a 50 knot headwind. Now we can do the same for our crosswind component. We go down to 10 and we drop vertically to determine what that crosswind component is. And it's at about 70, 78. So our crosswind, we're going to 0.78 times 50 is 39. And that's our crosswind component. It's as simple as that. And that then provides the headwind component straight away. So much easier than marking the wind and rotating it around. All right, so let's look at a second example. Let's say our track is 190 degrees and our wind is 340 degrees magnetic and 120 knots true, 120 knots. First of all, we line up our track to the top, 190. We go down to 340. This time it's a tailwind. We go to the 100 knot line and we go horizontally across, and it reads at about maybe 86. So for our tailwind this time, 0.86 times 120 is 103.2. For the crosswind, we've got 340. Go vertically up, it's about 0.52 times 120 is 62.4. And we'll come to how we use that crosswind in a moment. let's use one final example. Track 95 degrees, and our wind is 170 degrees magnetic and 85 knots. Well, in this one, we don't know if it's a tailwind or headwind yet, but let's look at 95, line it up to the top. We go 170, it's going to be a headwind. We go to that 100 knot line, go horizontally across to about 0.36, right? No, it's not. It's 0.26. 0.26, make that a headwind, times 85. Is minus 22. Let's look at our crosswind. 95, 170 to the 100 knot line, and it's at about 95. 0.95 times 85 is 80.75 crosswind. Right? Simple, super quick and easy. So much easier than trying to mark the Wizz wheel and rotate. Okay, let's look at the third tip. And the third tip is to do with the ETAS. And when you're using a Wizz wheel like this, it's really important to use the ETAS. Now, I found, and to disclaim, I didn't use this in the exam, and I just kind of eyeballed it. If it was about 5 degrees, I'd take 2 knots off. If it was about 10 degrees, I'd take maybe 4 knots off. But since then, I've come up with a bit of a rule of thumb, and I've done all the calculations using the cosine and using the different true airspeeds. And what I found is that on average, you can use 400 knots as a TAS for depressurized, for one engine out, or for normal operations. And this gets you to within 2 knots every time, and it's so much faster. So you set to 400 as your true airspeed. Let's use this final example. We had a crosswind of 81 knots. So you come up to the side to 81 over here. Look at that crab angle, and that crab angle here is 11.5, right? And all we do is we take 4 degrees off, and that gives us our effective TAS change. So we had 11.5 degrees minus 4. 11.5 minus 4 is 7.5, and that's going to be our crabbing component. So you get the crab angle minus 4, and that's the change. That's the effective TAS change. So you just have to minus 4. If it's, for example, 10 degrees of crab angle, you minus 4 and take 6 off your true airspeed to get your ground speed. And that's it. And that's all that stuff saved me heaps of tough stuff time in the exam. Or that I think will take save you a lot of time. Just want to document it. If you've got any questions, let me know.